Content warning. This game is about human history. Specifically, it's about a time period full of events with such family-friendly names as the Rape of Africa. There won't be anything graphic or whatever, mostly just implied slavery. You have been warned. As someone who needs highly regulated methamphetamines to stay functional in the information age, I often get sucked into low-effort dopaminergic activities instead of high-effort activities like, working. This usually manifests as waking up, putting on a YouTube video and playing a game, just for a little bit while I wake up, then watching helplessly as I piss away an entire 10-hour workday. Can you guess what I did yesterday? Europa Universalis 4, as you may be able to guess from the title, is a 4X game taking place in the massive expansion of European economic, political, and technological power, usually referred to by historians as the Great Divergence. But after playing the game a little, you may prefer the term European Miracle. There were a lot of socioeconomic factors contributing to this, and EU4 represents fucking all of them with gameplay mechanics. You can play as any nation, but the mechanics set up a very clear power dynamic of the 3 colonizers, the 3 land powers, France, and everyone else. The colonizers rape Africa and the New World. The land powers rape their surroundings. France, and everyone else, gets raped. If you can't tell, history was pretty fucked up. The early modern age was home to a hideous swath of atrocities, outdoing the medieval age, which outdid the classical period, which outdid history, which outdid prehistory. In fact, the evil and cruelty of the early modern age was only outdone by the late modern age. This video is not an endorsement of these atrocities, it's about how the game recreates the socioeconomic motivations for these atrocities in gameplay mechanics. If I say some shit like, slavery is based, please understand that I'm fucking kidding. You may be wondering, what the fuck is going on here? How is this a video game? Like all Paradox games, EU4 is a map game. You spend hours staring at the map, manipulating numbers and stats to paint the entire map your color. It's, not exactly a spectator sport. For the person playing, however, the UI is expertly crafted, almost like Paradox has 20 years of UI design experience or something. Menus are organized by category and give you all the relevant information in one screen. Like the economy screen tells you exactly what you're spending and earning, and you can hover over anything for details. So rather than being confused, you're just kinda like, wait, why are we in the red? Oh. Any category of information you can imagine has its own map mode to help you visually parse what the fuck is going on. Who likes who? Where's the trade going? How developed is the land? Who's in the Holy Roman Empire? Where are the infidels? How many disgusting minorities are still infesting my beautiful nation? The production interface is honestly a work of genius. In most other 4X games, if you want to build something, you have to click on each city and decide if you want to build something there. In EU4, you could do that, but you can also open the production interface, look at a list of unlocked buildings, then look at a list of potential locations, and even sort these locations by a variety of factors, including the total effect of your new building. This gets downright essential when your empire gets huge, but it still didn't save me from carpal tunnel. The music in this game is very good. Strategy games usually need their music to be unobtrusive, which often means they just put you to fucking sleep. EU4's soundtrack generally does a good job avoiding this. The tracks are still calm, but there's usually an undercurrent of something else, like a hope for the future or a desire to press onwards into the new horizon. However, there are 80 minutes of music, and I have like 250 hours of playtime. To say that I'm tired of the music is a fucking understatement. Nowadays, I like to put on something a little more culturally appropriate. To talk about the gameplay, we need to establish what a 4X game is. 4X is a strategy genre, where the name refers to the 4 X's. Expand, explore, exchange, and exterminate the natives. There are a million fucking mechanics and sub-mechanics, so there's no fucking way we're gonna cover them all. I'm only going to talk about the mechanics in broad strokes and how they all work together to recreate the socioeconomic conditions of the early modern age. That's right, this video game about being mechanically incentivized to recreate the triangle trade is actually a Marxist game. It recognizes that history is not made through the actions of great men, but rather a set of material conditions. At the beginning of the game, these material conditions are largely stagnant, as the developed world lives under feudalism. The peasants toil in the fields, and the king focuses on expanding the realm.
China will grow larger.
At the start of the game, your priorities involve forging alliances, establishing rivalries, cleaning up your home region, and fucking with your rivals. One feature that's generally unique to Paradox games is how you declare war. You can't just roll up and take everything because you feel like it, you actually have to have a reason. As it turns out, the international community doesn't really appreciate unjustified wars committed just for the sake of map painting. The goal of any given war is based on the casus belli you picked, and the progress towards that war gives you war score. When you're done fighting, you can use that war score to haggle out a peace deal. You usually can't annex an entire country in one peace deal. Instead, you can commit Sykes-Picot levels of border gore to cripple their nation, so the next time you come around, they'll be too weak to resist. Depending on how deftly you can navigate your political climate, you can usually paint a good chunk of the map your color in the early game. Unless you're Japan. Japan is fucking hilarious. The game starts just in time for a little something called the Onin War. So instead of colonizing Taiwan and raping the Koreans, you get to spend the next 200 years embroiled in a massive civil war. Normally, a vassal cannot declare war, so a nation with vassals usually looks like this. A daimyo, however, can declare war on other daimyos, so your entire fucking country looks like this. They're still your vassals, so if you give them something more productive to do, like declaring war on Korea, you can sit back and watch your angry little swarm of bees do all the work. Combat, like most mechanics in this game, follows a very interesting learning curve, like a recursive Dunning-Kruger graph. You start out like, what the fuck is going on? Oh, I get it now. Wait, no I fucking don't? What the hell is going on? Once you figure that shit out enough to unite your home region, you set your eyes on new horizons. If you're a land power, that means more expansion. But if you're a naval power, that means exploration. Uncolonized territories are basically free land, so you invest your resources into colonizing the coasts of Africa. As your ships explore further into the Atlantic, you'll eventually realize, hey, there's a lot of free shit over here. And the people trying to tell me it's not free don't put up much of a fight. As time goes on, the biggest factor in how quickly you get new technology is institutions. Institutions are ideas that spread across the map from a certain historical origin point. Like the Renaissance starts in a prosperous region of Italy, and the printing press starts somewhere in Germany. If you're behind on institutions, it'll be more expensive to unlock new technology. So generally, the farther you are from the usual institution origins, the slower you unlock technology. Since like all of them start in Europe, institutions are usually the biggest contributor to European divergence. This means Europe gets access to the ability to colonize faster than, say, East Asia, and by the time they arrive in those other regions, they have a significant military advantage. However, as they spread across the world, they also spread their technology and institutions. Like I said, European dominance isn't due to some racial superiority or divine mission, but an amalgamation of material conditions. Once those conditions spread to the rest of the world, they can rapidly modernize and reduce that European advantage. But by that point in the game, the true war is economic, and the Euros have already entrenched their positions. Trade and the exchange of commerce is a major factor of European dominance. I'm currently in my third or fourth recursive Dunning-Kruger hump in understanding it, but thankfully the trade map mode is very helpful. Every province has a trade resource and adds value to the local trade node based on the value of the resource and the production of the province. The only exception is gold, which adds its value directly to your treasury, which I hear is great for the stability of your currency. Trade nodes also receive and transfer trade value along a set of predefined routes. This is the real reason you colonize. Every new province adds its resource to the local node and gives you trade power. If you have enough power over a given node, you can send a merchant to choose which direction that trade goes. Good trade isn't just having a lot of trade power, it's good management of your trade routes. Like here, by controlling the Gold Coast, we can send the trade directly to the English Channel, bypassing the Sevilla node and completely cutting the rest of Europe off from African trade, and a shitload of Indian and Pacific trade as well. As if this wasn't unfair enough, Europe also has 3 terminal nodes: Venice, Genoa, and the English Channel. Any trade that isn't collected by someone will eventually end up at one of these nodes. Sure, as an eastern nation, you can monopolize your local trade area and prevent any of it from going downstream, if you enjoy having your navy obliterated and your countrymen addicted to heroin. The final X is exterminate. Near the end of the game, all the free colonizable land is gone, so the only way to expand is to go back to where we started. War. Except, war has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. You can use your economic dominance to finance proxy wars and mercenary armies to expand your economic dominance. The natives may have had time to somewhat adapt to your technological advantage, but now you have the money and manpower to completely fucking level their civilization. At this point, the only thing keeping the Europeans from taking over the world is each other. As Hiram Maxim put it, he first got the idea to invent the machine gun when a friend told him, "Hang your chemistry and electricity. If you want to make a pile of money in this age, invent something that will enable these Europeans to cut each other's throats with greater facility." But that's for the next game. Most of this video has been from the European perspective, but that doesn't mean non-Europeans aren't fun. It's very engaging to subjugate the local area and prepare for the coming storm. Most of your time is still spent under the shadow of the great powers. Like, one way for the Native Americans to fight off the British is to ally with the French. The French help you not out of the goodness of their hearts, but because they're just pissy over Britain beating them to the whole American colonization thing. Wait, that sounds kind of familiar. Oh yeah! That's something I really like about this game. Its mechanics create a gameplay incentive for history to play out more or less like it did in real life. It doesn't really teach you anything, so much as remind you of the stuff you learned in history class, and give a bit more of an explanation. Like, how come the Habsburgs turned their family tree into a family circle? Oh, I mentioned institutions start in Europe, but a powerful state like China can also recreate the material conditions for an institution to appear. Just like actual Chinese history, you have to actively choose between using your resources to manage and develop your realm, or investing them into technological research so you can stop getting violated by the Middle Eastern gunpowder empires. Or maybe that was just my game. But of course, you still have to deal with the time-honored Chinese tradition of massive dynastic collapse. If the prospect of managing such a large empire is intimidating, you can also try multiplayer.
Fucking, we're in 4 wars right now.
Good. Remember words of Sun Tzu. All warfare is based.
You can actually choose to have multiple people play this same nation. There are a few moments where you learn the limitations of the Roman consul system, but it's actually an amazing way to play a strategy game. With 2 people, you're way better at all the micromanaging work, and you can specialize on the mechanics you actually understand. And only the host needs the fucking 7 million pieces of DLC. Right, the DLC. Put simply, this is a Paradox game. Normally, the sentiment for these games is to play the base game, then if you like it, just pirate the DLC or snag it on a Humble Bundle or whatever. However, they recently started a subscription service for $5. Since it's Paradox, you'd expect it to be like fucking $30 a month. I think I've just been brainwashed by bullshit, but this feels like a good deal? This is the kind of game that you like marathon for a week, then don't touch for a year, then marathon for a week again. You'd have to be subscribed for like 3 years to equal the price of just buying everything. Nobody's gonna play that much. I'm really sitting here rationalizing this subscription service game? What the fuck happened? That was Europa Universalis 4. It is extremely addictive and has wreaked havoc on my professional life and sleep schedule. However, it is very fun. If you've ever wanted to play a Civ game but with more fucking mechanics, this may be the game for you. If you'd rather watch your kingdom fall into disrepair as you cuck all your dukes, you might try Crusader Kings instead. Thank you for watching. It's been really nice to see the channel kind of pop off recently. I really like reading all the, nice comments. Somebody says like, "Hey, great video." It's like, ah, cool. If you did like this video and you'd like to see more, give some positive engagement for the algorithm, like a like or a comment, even if it's just like a smiley face or whatever, or even send it to other people. If you really want to see this channel keep going, I do have a Patreon. I don't yet have a real job because, frankly, I've been procrastinating on building my resume and applying to jobs because I have been doing this. So these videos will stop being made the, instant I get a real job.
Oh wait, we could fucking colonize them. Wait, no, we have to take off. I want British Japan. I want Japan to be British.